All right, we're back again. Kenny Wright, Welsh Hormone Optimization. Today we're bringing you another arm day. Here, I'll be training my good friend and young NPC bodybuilder, Colby. We're going through an arm day. So here I'm just showing him. We're just starting off, warming up. So these are a variation of tricep push down, which is obviously super basic. I always start off with these in every exercise, or every time I do arms, even if I'm, not planning on doing these as a full through and through set. I'll start off with these because they warm the elbows up so well, and they put pressure on the muscle rather than on the joint. Whereas when you jump in, say you were to just jump straight into some skull crushers or something, odds are you're going to hurt your elbows. So here, this is a different variation. You can see I'm trying to get him to kind of have an underhand grip, which is kind of hard to do with a rope because your wrist wants to give out and push back. So that's why you can use such light weight, but it puts such a good pressure on the tricep itself that it's worth it to use that tiny little amount of weight. Just correct your form. So here he's just warming up. This is nothing for him. He's so strong, it's ridiculous. So I gotta have him back off the weight sometimes and just focus, deeply on just form, just perfecting form, because he can push any weight you throw at him. But form is what makes, quality, dense, deep muscle. So, and it also lets you, hit certain points of the muscle to capitalize on, gaining in a certain area, or perfecting a certain area rather. So here, switching back to some rope curls, just back and forth. This is a good way to superset with arms, and not have to, be moving from a machine to another machine and have somebody come and take your spot while you're, trying to find something else. And so these supersets are an easy way to just stick around where you're at. So here he's doing rope curls. You saw I walked into the video and I'm showing him to keep your back straight and just pull up and back. That works up your bicep further up, more towards your shoulder, the peak area. Just puts more emphasis there. If your arms are, back, you see people doing curls and their elbows are creeping back and they're just hucking weight, and it's not productive. It's not working on the peak of the muscle. It's not really contracting it as hard as it possibly could, and that is just ego lifting. It doesn't do any good. You see people screaming and hucking weight, and the loudest dude in the gym is not always the biggest, so it's not about ego. And the funny thing is, the people who are, the most developed are usually the most humble, because they've been through it all. They've learned everything the hard way. They've done everything wrong in the past, and they had to correct it just through trial and error. So these videos can help you kind of skip that trial. Okay, so now he's got his shirt off. You can kind of see what's going on, the way that his muscles are moving. You can see the tricep lengthening, flexing, lengthening, flexing. He's still not using a ton of weight. You just don't need to when you have that grip like this. He's having a little bit of a hard time keeping that underhand grip, which is understandable. I have real strong wrists, which is not necessarily an awesome thing. It's just whatever. It just is what it is. But it's still working the way that it should. It works the long muscle of the tricep, the long head rather than the outside, which is what normal push downs kind of usually just work that small head on the outside, the horseshoe area. Doing them underhand like this works the long head more, puts more pressure on the thick piece of the tricep.
You can go heavier.
So see, you just drop that pulley straight down, pick the weight that you want, and then head straight into curls. Back up a little bit, get some tension on it, keep your back straight, brace yourself, hold your core tight to resist and not put so much pressure on your back. See what I'm pointing at right there? That's where it's flexing. That's where it's putting pressure. I'm telling him, keep your arms forward. Up, because when your elbows creep back, you're taking pressure, you're lowering like the trajectory of where the weight is being loaded. So if you keep your arms forward like that, you're going to be putting more pressure up in the peak of the bicep. So you see, he's doing, that's a good amount of weight, but if he were to be doing with sloppy form, he could huck that whole stack, no problem. But this is doing it right, and it's very hard. Like you can see the effort he's putting forth. And that's how hard you need to be working. That's another thing that needs to be said. Like when you're training, don't just go through the motions. And I think a lot of people just go through the motions. You know, they see a workout, they kind of planned it out in their head before, they mimic another workout, and you just go through the motions. You gotta be pushing yourself. The muscles don't care about a number of reps. They don't care about going through the motions. You have to be pushing their limits. You have to be recruiting as many muscle fibers as humanly possible before that muscle just cannot connect to your mind anymore and just shuts off. You have to push it to failure. Every set, every single time, you know, aside from your warm-up sets. Once you're warm, you got to just push it.
Bump it up. Wait up. Where were you at last time? 50? Was that okay, or do you want to go up?
I felt like I was struggling towards the end
That's fine.
a little bit to keep the form.
Yeah.
All right. Jumping into another set. Taking a while. I'm sure we're talking about what we're doing. Keep that back straight. Tension on it. And up. Elbows forward. Up. Curl the wrist out. Twist the wrist out. So there. It's getting heavy. So I'm spotting him there. And you're pushing it into failure. So there's three parts, you know, of an exercise. There's squeeze at the top. There's the negative, which is the lowering portion of this curl here in particular. There's the positive motion, which is pulling up. The positive motion is the weakest. It always fails first. So if you have a spotter, if you're lucky enough to have a spotter, you can have them help you with your positive motion. So if it were here, I'd help him push it down, and then as he brought the triceps, you know, to a lengthening position, he could bear that load on his own. So the positive motion always fails first, and then you push it past that. You have somebody help you push, and then you control the negative portion of the exercise yourself. And once your negative portion's done, you're done. The muscle is just shut off. It can't function anymore. It needs time to recover. You can see the intensity that he's putting forth, and he's, you know, seasoned. This is what he does. So he's composed, but that's still how much effort he's putting forth.
Perfect.
Another set, and this is unedited. These are just clips, back to back to back to back to back. So you can see what a full-length exercise actually looks like. I mean, this is, aside from walking from one place to another and talking about, you know, how we're going to film the clips, this is the duration of the actual exercise that's taking place. So this is, you know, how quickly you can get through an exercise. You don't need to spend 3 hours in the gym walking around, taking selfies, making sure your big headphones are in place, making sure everybody sees you. You get in there and you kick your ass and you go home and you eat to recover, because the only point of working out is to break down muscle, and the only point of breaking down muscle is so that you can recover it and it can be stronger, so that it can grow. You don't grow in the gym, you grow at home. So here we're moving on to a new kind of a decline reverse grip again. See, these are all alternate workouts. This is not a normal arm day that I would do, and we've already released another arm day video, which is pretty standard. So these are alternate. This is different stuff to give you guys more information to work with, you know, more exercises, more alternatives. And you can make your own combination of them, which is fine. But just so you have a variety of workouts. See, these also work that long head of the tricep. Putting yourself in that underhand position, it's hard. For one, it's hard to hold on to the bar, but for two, It's just much harder on the tricep than when you're over. You can see he's crazy strong person, and this underhand he's starting with a 40. He gets good reps out of it, but to do the form perfectly, see how I'm pulling his elbows back further? The further back they go, the more tension it puts on the muscle itself. It takes it off the joint. So if your elbows, were way far forward, say the bar was coming more towards his chin or something, you're putting a ton of pressure on the joint itself, on the tendons, and the connections there. That's not what you want. We're working muscles. So I have him put his arms back further, puts it on the thick of the muscle itself, which is what you're trying to grow.
How many did you get?
You avoid injury, you avoid tension on the elbows, and you put the pressure on the muscles. So here, easy superset back and forth. So you're doing those reverse grip skull crushers on the decline, and then boom, grab a bar. You can grab a straight bar, you can grab an easy bar, whatever. And these are a muscle builder for biceps. In that same motion, he's bringing up, elbows forward, controlled the negative, up, boom, and that's heavyweight there. So that's a good.
Up.
This is you can go all out with strength here. So back to these underhand. I think he jumps the weight up 10 pounds or so. Getting the grip. Yeah, bring his elbows back. Boom. And it's natural. Your body's going to want to, every rep you do, it's going to want to decrease, the position to make it easier on you. Your elbows are going to creep forward and forward and forward. You can see I'm not necessarily spotting him for the weight. I'm pulling that back to keep him from, pulling it forward and making it easy for him. I'm making it harder by pulling back, so it's on the thick of the muscle. Boom. Good.
Do you care if I wear my belt?
No, go for it. Yep.
So right back, he jumped up the weight. That's big time. Put on a belt for that. I mean, this is a good time to break out the belt because it puts a lot of pressure on your core. So you put a weight belt on, you can push against it with your stomach, you can keep your abs tight, you can put that, it puts that nice snug pressure on your back through the weight belt, keeps it strong. So you don't want to hurt your back. I've done it a million times doing hammer curls, doing stand-up barbell curls like this, and you put so much pressure on your back that the rib just pops out or whatever, and you're crippled. And you gotta hobble out of the gym. So be preventative.
Where's the grip?
And go to the chiropractor regularly. That's another thing. That's
All right.
a whole nother topic for another video that we're going to be doing. The importance of massage work, the importance of chiropractic work. So this is just kind of a different angle showing you where you should be coming. Elbows very far back, the bar coming to the top of your head. Boom. I mean, this is only 60 pounds. Later in the video, he does some close grip presses, which is a strength exercise, a muscle builder for triceps. Obviously, you're working a little bit of chest, but you're trying to put as much pressure on the triceps as possible. And he's using like 275 or 315, and that just goes to show how hard these are. Underhand, decline, skull crushers. He's using 60 pounds, but he can press, over 300 pounds easy with triceps. So here we're jumping into these. And this is another superset exercise as well. And for those of you who are like, what is a superset? I probably should have explained that before. Superset is when you go back and forth between two exercises. You could superset, if you were just working triceps, if you can superset exercises for the same muscle, or you can superset opposing muscle groups, like a lot of people do back and chest together, bis and tris, whatever. A superset just means that you're jumping from one exercise to another, back to the other exercise, back to that one, back and forth, just to build up intensity and hit a different portion of the muscle because a whole nother muscle because it's fresh, it's been rested even though you've been working the other one. So maybe your heart rate hasn't recovered yet, but the muscle itself is fresh, so you go boom, 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 back and forth between exercises. So here, starting off heavy. He's already warmed up. He's a strong guy, so here we're in close grip, bench press. You can see, to explain this exercise, you're trying to put the force on the triceps themselves. So you put your hands a little bit closer together, a lot a bit closer together than an average bench press. I bring my elbows down a little bit further than you would a normal chest press, and you're pushing from the triceps, almost like a tricep extension, but mixed in with the press. It's hard to explain unless you're under the bench, but he's supersetting these with a seated concentration curl, and that's something you can do. It's an easy thing. You don't lose your spot. You walk over, you get yourself a bench, you get a dumbbell, get your set of triceps, sit right up, boom, grab a dumbbell, and now you're hitting the upper outer head of the bicep there. So you kick your elbow out on these, you cock your elbow out, put it more towards the knee rather than in towards your crotch area, whatever. Cock your elbow out and bring that all the way up, and that's hitting the peak of the bicep on the outside, so the outer head. That looks good in back double bicep shots. It's just a good way to isolate that portion of the muscle. And this is a good superset. It saves time. You can hit both muscle groups close together, and you don't have to lose your spot or get your machine taken, whatever. Jumping the weight up a little bit. This is called progressive overload. I know I kind of say this in every video. This is pretty much how I feel everybody should be training to build muscle. And if you say, oh, I'm not interested in building muscle, I just want to lose fat. The more muscle you carry, the higher your metabolic rate is. So you burn more calories, you can burn more fat naturally with a higher amount of muscle. It's living tissue. Your body doesn't recognize body fat and count that in your caloric needs. But if you have more muscle, then you naturally require more food to live life. Or if you put yourself in a deficit, you burn more fat that way, just because you have more muscle. That's why it's so easy for us to switch gears from bulking, I guess you would call it, from being big and thick and full like Colby is right there. If I took away some, like I also do his nutrition. So if I were to take away 100 grams of carbs from him daily, and you think 100 grams of carbs, I don't even get that a day. He's probably taking in 600-700 grams of carbs. He is a big boy, and he's a heavy sugar burner. So he eats a lot of carbs. But if I were to pull 100 grams, that's a sixth or a seventh of his intake daily. If I were to pull that away from him, he would drastically lose body fat immediately. Your body just responds so well because we're so used to being revved so high. From taking in so much food, from carrying so much muscle, we require so much food that if we take anything away, you get massive results. Bumping up this weight a little bit. This set got a little weird actually beforehand. I think that his grip was a little bit off. He still gets a good amount out of him. That is freaking heavy. Most people can't even, normally straight bench press that, let alone just with your triceps. So, yeah, the bar is a little off there.
Good.
He still gets a good 3 or 4 out of it.
Up. Up.
Yeah, see it getting all wobbly on the right side. No problem.
Up.
Yeah, you got some reps out of it. Oh, tag that a little bit. That's scary. That's why it's good to have a spotter on things like this.
Grip was off.
Was it?
The right side felt a little heavier.
So here, as far as training goes, I'm looking at the timer right now. He's only been working out for 19 minutes. Most people go to the gym, they think that they need to be in there for hours, 1 hour and a half or something. This is 19 minutes in, and this is the second to last exercise period. And he's thoroughly worked. He's killed the triceps, he's killed the biceps from several angles. And this is about 20 minutes in. So he hops back right there. Concentration curls. It's only 35 pounds. They're hard. And it isolates just that upper outer head right there. You can see that thing flexing. So just for reference of size, I think Colby's about 5'7". Could be wrong. He'll be all pissed if I'm wrong. He's about 5'7" and about 220 pounds. This is off season, so when he diets, he diets down into the middle weights. We're trying to put on, more size, get him out of the middle weights, and so it goes to show like how much you can drop through dieting when your metabolism is just revved through the roof. So here, this is a finisher. This is just one long drop set. So this is an old thing that Arnold used to do to finish off triceps. So it's on an actual lat pull down, the cable, very light, but it's just completely different. The pulley system is completely different. It's much heavier than the traditional, push downs, and you grab them a little bit wider, but it's just a super good finisher. So this is just one long set. I should have had a little rep counter or something because it's just ridiculous. This is like a 3-minute set, no joke. And it's just a finisher, and I do like a triple drop set here. So, and also for reference, when somebody says drop set, you do a weight. Usually a drop set goes on your last set or one of your last sets of an exercise. But since this is just one exercise straight through, a drop set means you rep a certain weight out until complete and absolute failure, to where you cannot do it anymore. Like he's working hard there. That was done, right? You pull the weight, drop it down a little bit, and get straight back to it before your body has a chance to recruit any more muscle fibers to the cause. There's so much blood in his arms there that you lose the definition. There's a point in an arm workout where it's like awesome. You first start working out, the veins pop out first. You get a little further in, the definition starts, your skin thins out, your muscles are tight, they're pushing up against your skin, and you have awesome definition. And then you push past that, and your muscles just get so full of blood, they just look like a big old Pillsbury Doughboy. Fat boy. And that's the point that he's at. They're just completely crammed full. You can see he can barely bring his arms up like that because his biceps pushing on his forearm. And he's getting right back to it. And look at that weight. I mean, that's absolutely nothing. But this is hard because of what he's already been through and how long this set is going on. I mean, this is hundreds of reps, I'm sure. It's just ridiculous. But it's a good way to finish off an arm workout. And if you wanted a little more intensity after this for biceps, you could go right back over to that dumbbell rack there behind you and just freaking run down the rack with alternating dumbbell curls. One arm, then the other, one arm, then the other, one arm, then the other. And then boom, slam those weights down. Well, don't slam them down, you'd be an asshole. But put those weights down, grab something lighter, get out as many as you can, drop those down, grab something lighter until you're just freaking done. So here we're getting close to the end, and look at that weight. That is just pathetic. It's absolutely nothing, but it's just so thoroughly worked, and this is 23 minutes and 54 seconds right there. That's an entire workout, and that's how quickly it can be done, So that's it. Arm day. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you like these videos, all right? Thanks, guys.